Hey everyone, and welcome to the Mic'd Avengers podcast, where we focus on martial arts and action cinema, but definitely delve into much more. My name is Jason from Martial Arts Theater 3000. I've been a lifelong fan of martial arts movies from Bruce Lee to the Venom Mob, Bruceploitation, and everything in between.
My name's Dragon, aka the Fanatical Dragon on YouTube. I also write the Blu-ray reviews for Eastern Heroes magazine right here in the UK. I'm about 4 decades into this love affair with East Asian cinema, specifically action cinema. Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan and the Shaw brothers got me into Hong Kong films, but unlike my buddy Jason, I've seen a whole bunch of Japanese, Indonesian and South Korean action flicks too. So over the coming episodes, every so often, we're going to force feed him something he has not seen.
And I'm Shaun, also known as Food for Thought. It all started for me at the tender age of 14, where I discovered Jackie Chan's Drunken Master. From there, I kind of delved into old school Kung Fu, and that has been my passion for 30 plus years now. I also started delving into all realms of Asian cinema, and I'm very happy to say that these days I have a pretty strong passion for kind of dark Korean thrillers. If you like what you hear and you're enjoying the podcast, please give us a like, share, and subscribe. And please enjoy this episode of the Mic'd Avengers.
Greetings, one and all, and welcome once again to the Mic'd Avengers podcast. I am the Fanatical Dragon, and I'm joined, as always, by my two erstwhile brothers in the martial world, Jason from Martial Arts Theater 3000. Say hi, Jason.
How's it going, everyone?
And of course, Shaun from Food for Thought. Say hello, Shaun.
Howdy, partners.
And we are delighted to be back again for the beginning of another year, though with a little bit of a heavy heart as we come to you just on fresh from the news that the one and only Su Lung Leung has passed away, aka Bruce Lung, kind of one of the titans of Bruceploitation, and then a whole lot more. I think he was pretty young still, relatively, but had
77. He passed away at
I think it was on the 14th of January, which we're recording just a couple of days after. But yeah, very sad news. Jackie Chan had kind of posted out about it, as has a bunch of other kind of Hong Kong luminaries. But he had a pretty incredible career and was working right up until 2020, I think, was the last movie that he made.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, he was, and he was still, to be honest, like even late into his career, or late into his age, I should say, he was still kicking and punching and doing martial arts on screen. I know, obviously, his big comeback was, of course, Kung Fu Hustle, which everyone remembers for. But I was a massive fan of Gallants. Do you remember that film, Gallants?
Yeah.
That he made? Oh, so much fun, and just him and what was it? Lo Mang and Chen Quan Tai, kind of older gentlemen fighting away. It was so good, but. Yeah, a true legend, has done it all. Bruceploitation, bashers, shapes, modern classics.
Yeah, he's in Wong Kar-wai's Grandmaster as well. And fairly recently, we saw him he was all over the Clones of Bruce Lee documentary. He did a lot of stuff when those guys went over and interviewed him. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why don't I know that? What, does he wait, is it the full length version? The
I think so, but I can't remember if he's actually got a fighting part. I don't think he plays one of the other masters that fights.
Oh, maybe I've just never noticed.
Yeah.
Jesus.
For me, what it was with Bruceploitation and him was, there was always Bruce Lee, and Dragon Lee. And when I would see the Bruce Parks and the random ones, it never could even get close to those three for me. He was the first one that was like, oh man, he can hang. And he definitely looks, even not that they all look like Bruce, at times they can, but he looked not like Bruce at all, but his kicks and everything were just out of this world. And he definitely deserved to be up there with them. I mean, he was
100%.
100%. A real classic kicker. I think his leg work was phenomenal. And I'm lucky I came to Bruce Lung after, I discovered him through Kung Fu Hustle. I did not see his earlier work, so I was able to go back and look at his earlier work, which was, of course, an absolute pleasure. But yeah, I was lucky enough to kind of find him in Kung Fu Hustle and be like, oh, who's this guy? And then go back. So yeah, true legend.
That's sad. One thing I noticed on that is, of course, there's the geography, but have you noticed when someone dies in Asian cinema, there's always a little bit of a gap sometimes, even of a month or 2 months when we find out. It's like, wow.
Wasn't Corey Yoon 2 years or a year?
Oh, that maybe his family held out, right? Or something?
Oh, sorry. Yes, Corey Yoon, his family held out.
Okay. That's the other thing. Every 2 years, they keep saying T. Lung died. That keeps floating around for a minute. Yeah, that too. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it could be some lost in translation thing sometimes, maybe like it's in a different language. Who knows? But it seems to be not always right away when we hear some of these legends are passing away.
Yeah, because a lot of these guys not that well known back in Hong Kong now. I think it's hard. I think for in some ways they're kind of held in higher regards internationally than they are kind of back home. So it sometimes does take a little while for the news to filter through, but pretty sad. But yeah, like thankfully leaves behind an incredible legacy of movies. So do yourself a favor and go and revisit some Bruce Lung classics for January in tribute, which brings us to the movie we're covering today, which is not a Bruce Lung movie. We'd worked out what we were going to do in advance, and maybe we will get to cover one of his movies further down the line. But today, we are returning to a director that we haven't done since the very, very beginning of the show. We're returning back to Sung Chung, back to Shaw Brothers, and 1979's To Kill a Mastermind. Long regarded as very, very hard to get a hold of, until 88 Films recently put out an incredible restoration on Blu-ray. And thankfully, a lot of people kind of finding it for the first time. I think, Jason, is this a first-time watch for you this time around?
It is. It is.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
Awesome.
Yeah, because
I knew that was the case.
Yeah, I had mentioned it. I'll just say it was always a holy grail. Everyone always talked about it. We see those little shots. And I guess this is a good time before Dragon does his synopsis to mention, we have never mentioned this on the podcast, the Z Eagle. So the Z Eagle is like, I always was talking about this. I did videos
on it. The mythical Z Eagle.
Yeah, one of the things about the Z Eagle is it had To Kill a Mastermind on it, and people were unsure why it just wasn't pressed on the IVLs or the Hong Kong, releases. And for people listening, the Z Eagle was every Celestial remaster. I can't remember the number offhand. Because it was more than just the Kung Fu movie. So it wasn't just 265. I think it was 680 or something crazy. And as time went on, it lost a little bit of its luster because it was only like 480i or something. And then they made an HD version where just maybe 100 were like 720p or something like that, 100 of them. And so it was always a joke. We always talk about it. And I just was like, I need to get the Z Eagle. And guys would show up in groups. So one guy had boxes and boxes. They looked like they'd been rained on. Remember that guy? He kept going to the groups. And he's like, I'll mail it to the Bronx and then we'll get it to you. I don't know. I held off. But the whole story is that, To Kill a Mastermind was on there forever. And then I think there was some bootleg VCDs and bootleg different things, along the way. But it was always the one I couldn't wait. And then whenever 88 Films got it, I have I'm making almost like a watch pile shelf, and I've been getting through it. And that one's been calling on me with that amazing artwork on it.
Yeah. Shout out to Shaun Longmore who did the artwork for that.
Oh, I love it. But I will, later tell you my thoughts on it. But this is new to me, and it's always been just a legend in the community, kind of
massively so. And we'll dive deep into it. We'll do the synopsis quickly, and then I'm very keen to know these gentlemen's thoughts. A wildly unhelpful synopsis on IMDb, which tells us that undercover government agent infiltrates powerful crime syndicate threatening Chinese empire, betrays and infighting. This is almost like a message that you send in times of war. Betrayals and infighting within gang unveil agent's identity. Climactic confrontation between agent and syndicate leader follows. Full stop. Over. Which is
it's sending Morse code.
It completely is, and super unhelpful. Google, which is sometimes wildly off the mark, actually does pretty well this time around. Google tells us a ruthless crime syndicate, the Qisha clan, which is controlled by 7 chiefs, is terrorizing China. The Imperial Court orders Minister Yang to bring them down by sending undercovers to the clan and disintegrating them from the inside, which is better, right?
Yes.
Kind of well done, Google, for kind of getting pretty close to the mark. For me, I'd only ever seen this in really low res with no subs, and trying to understand what the fuck is going on in this movie without subtitles was a fool's errand.
Of all movies,
yeah. So I had no idea what was going on. So really, when the 88 Blu-ray came around, that was the first time that I properly saw the movie. It's incredible. I really, really do enjoy it. But I feel that this is a movie that if Sun Chung had wrestled the Venoms away from Chang-Chi for this movie would be held in the ultimate highest regard, because it's sadly slightly handicapped by the fact that we don't really have a discernible one singular kind of, or a couple of singular kind of big stars. There are people that we know in it, but they're not really necessarily playing the lead. It's very much an ensemble film. And the choreography is wildly inventive, but maybe not quite up to the level that we would see from the Venoms if they were kind of turning their hand to something like this. So it's a bit of a weird one, but looks absolutely incredible. It's one of the shows that gets outside of the studio's confines for a while. So some beautiful location work, a genuinely pretty gripping horse chase, which we don't often see at one point through here. Sun Chung's always in crazy, wildly inventive Kubrickian camera work and framing, inside of trees leading up, and some kind of crazy framing once we get inside a couple of the sets, which are beautiful as well. The kind of underground base, and I always love an underground base. So yeah, this is an incredibly good time for me. And guys, I'm very keen to know what you think. So Shaun, should we throw it over to the noob? Should we throw it over to Jason for his first time reaction?
We can. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so we were kindred spirits on this one. What you said there, you said a lot of the talking points I wanted to say. I couldn't help now knowing that Sun Chung is understudy of Chang-Chi. I think not quite like John Woo, but I know they collaborated in some fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see that if I had to pick of Lau Kar-Long and Chang-Chi, this is definitely more Chang-Chi-esque. A lot of his,
yes,
a lot of it. And it just felt like coming home. I was like, man, this feels like this could be slotted right in that 1979. I know Venoms did like 75 movies that year, but you just hit it on the head. If the Venoms, I mean, there's a guy that kind of resembled Lo Mang too.
All the parts are there, right? You can see which roles they would have taken.
It's all there. And I almost, when I was watching, I was like, wait, is this Venom exploitation? Is this the first one? Because when I saw that mask, I was like, man, maybe there'll be a box set. I mean, and my first thought is, man, I want more, because that's what I love about Bruce exploitation. You only got the 4 Bruce movies, and it just keeps opening up. If it's too late now, but I need more masked movies and mystery. So watching it, I'll just say, guys, I loved it. I really did. And going in, every time I step into Shaw Brothers in this period, it is just coming home. I just want to live in there. I love everything. But he has the different Sun Chung elements, the horses, the stuff we've talked about with the dolly shots. I'm not sure there's quite as many dolly shots, but in this one, on Human Lanterns, we discussed
it's not quite as kind of good. I think Human Lanterns is much more stage bound. So he's kind of doing an awful lot more stuff inside the studio. This is probably maybe about would you say like a 60% or 70% studio and then 30% out and about in the real world.
Like external, yeah.
Yeah, and it has what's his other big element? Oh, slow-mo. Tons of slow-mo.
Yeah.
But something I noticed, and I had to say, is like me and Shaun always kind of joke around, like was 78 when the choreography came into its own, or 79. So I was like, 79, you expect this like snappy thing that the Venoms were doing, and something felt a little like the guy forgot to undercrank it a tad or something. It was kind of like, it was kind of inconsistent. Then it would go to scenes where like the masked guy who, you thought for a moment might have been the mastermind is like intercepting those guys. Well, it was actually like a melee going on, them trying to get outside, get that little message. And when that fight was amazing. It was so good. It was almost like when they got...
With Dick Way. Dick Way is one of the guys going up against him.
Yes,
right?
yes. Yeah. And when the weapons got in their hands, it was nice and snappy, and the slow-mo really works. I love how he does slow-mo. It's just sometimes the standard one-on-one kung fu, especially at the beginning, just felt a little 1976, 77-ish to me.
A wee bit. I think weirdly that they're almost trying to do the sort of stuff that the Venoms could do in their sleep, where there's more of an acrobatic, almost breakdancey kind of, and the wire work's used in a really weird way where they're doing a lot of really tricky aerial things that the Venoms could have knocked out so easily. But I think it's maybe a little bit of a stretch for a couple of the performers that they still get there, they still pull it off. But it is a really weird, slightly more experimental style of choreography. And this was Tongai on his own, right, during the choreography.
Yes, it was.
Previously had always kind of had Lau Kar-Long to kind of bounce off early in the 70s. So I think it's him kind of responding to what else was going on in Hong Kong. this is total speculation on my part, but it kind of feels like it. And then sort of trying to find his own kind of individual take on it with a couple of the weapons they use. There's some kind of really unusual weapons. But at some point, we've got to dive into, did this inspire one of those characters in Mortal Kombat with the hat, with the kind of the serrated blade? Yeah. Because he looks so similar, right? To the style of kind of how that guy's presented here. And for me, it kind of feels very much like the father of that character, and really cool. I wish he'd used that weapon more, because there's only really a couple of instances of it getting used, but it's very, very kind of cool when he does. And so, some kind of quite interesting weapons that we don't often see kind of peppered in throughout this.
Yeah. The little heroes of the East, the bending over where he shoots those 3 darts. That guy's rocking that constantly in this. Yeah. But my wrap up on it is amazing film. I really loved it. I thought that the choreography was really good, interesting with the Sun Chung slow-mo. And I thought the story was excellent. It almost, there's something going on. I wonder, in this 1979, if you look at Fearless Hyena, if you look at Flag of Iron, which is the next year, there's this thing where the guys all walk around in these capes in unison, and and you don't quite see that in the early 70s. I'm like, when did this exactly start? But I love it. It's almost like the superhero Venoms period, and it's so cool. And they'll have their weapons and they launch the capes open. And that's why I love Flag of Iron, because it's just one of the most aesthetically beautiful. I mean, it's all black and red and the blood's everywhere. And it's just a really good, good eye for aesthetics in that one. And I just, something so cool. This is like my bread and butter. These Venom-esque guys, they're superhero-y, a mystery. It kind of takes the 5 deadly Venoms up a notch, because it's more complicated, of course, and the twists keep coming. I got a strange Clash of the Titans feeling, in Clash of the Titans, where they have those little miniatures, and I guess it's the gods, and they're kind of and then it goes to the scene. Whenever a guy dies and they pull down that statue, I was like, oh, I'm getting a little bit of they're they're the masterminds in a way, And then I thought that was cool, and I liked the spoiler alert for anyone listening. The Wang Lung Wei twist was really neat. You almost feel it starting to come, because it's I didn't want to have what happened in Born Invincible, where they just introduce a guy in the last 8 minutes and you don't have a bond. Any villain they brought out, it couldn't really, you know what I mean? It just wasn't. And I thought Kook Fang might have been it. That could have worked. But he was so docile, though. He was so
surprisingly docile. Kook Fang. Sorry, I'm going to jump on a Kook Fang.
Well, I'll just say that's pretty much my take on it. You can.
Kook Fang is one of the most versatile actors, because he can be the ultimate badass, or this weak kind of almost just, I don't know, almost fragile old man. He's incredible. I'm with you. I kind of wanted him to be the big bad in this, because it would have been such a change in his character, and I would have liked to have seen him come out at the end as kind of the badass. But I was okay with him not being it.
He literally didn't have a single fight scene in this, which is unusual.
No,
and particularly because when did Avenging Eagle come out?
78.
No,
77,
78?
78, I believe. Because I did that video in 1978. That was
of course. You're the king. You're the master of 78.
and they brought back the claw, right? This time given to Yuen Wah.
Yeah.
So the Avenging Eagle claw was kind of used here to pretty great effect. Not kind of maybe not given quite as much as a showcase as it gets an Avenging Eagle, but kind of very cool to see. And Yuen Wah might be the MVP in terms of the choreography stakes for me in this movie. He does some phenomenal stuff, and particularly once we're getting to the kind of the later end of the movie, when he's having to kind of fend off multiple people at the same time and doing a pretty incredible job. And they kind of use that weapon gimmick that he has really, really well. He looks very strange with a stuck-on kind of bald pate, kind of haircut thing over the top, but somehow pulls it off. He somehow still looks pretty badass.
And his stunt when he goes through the table, when he comes off the balcony through the table, that's almost 80s Yuen Wah kind of classic, kind of rough stuff that they didn't really show that much in the late 70s.
Yeah, agreed.
And he kind of was the best, I thought, at encompassing. They were all trying to do this fighting and discussing and fighting. For some reason, he was on the perfect edge, where the other guys, you didn't always fully believe them. You're like, oh, kill this guy, he's lying. He you really didn't know. And it just, I thought that really nailed what they were trying to do with those dialogue / like get this guy moments, scenes.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
But a very twisty. Sorry, Shaun, on you go.
No. I was just going to jump in with my opinion and
Yeah.
how my journey with this film, because there isn't really much of a journey to talk about with this one. There were 2 films growing up, or not even growing up, that I heard about over the years that were really, really rare and hard to get. And one was To Kill a Mastermind, and the other one was, I don't know if you've heard of a film called Massacre Survivor, and it's a Yun Clan film. I believe it's a Yun Clan film, but I believe it's pretty hard to get hold of. Rodney, if everyone listening knows Rodney, he's kind of like a figurehead of the community. He's posted clips from a decent copy before that I've seen. But long story short, what I'm trying to get at is those were interchangeable in my mind over the years. I didn't know which was which. So when To Kill a Mastermind got announced from 88 Films, I was like, oh, finally, this Yun Clan film is getting an announcement. Then I realized it was Shaw Brothers. I was like, oh, wait, I know nothing about this film. So the first time I watched it was when 88 Films released it. That was my first time sitting down to watch it. And I enjoyed it then very, very much. And I enjoy it now probably even more, I would say. To me, To Kill a Mastermind is the ultimate antidote to Cho Yun. And by that, I mean, Cho Yun usually takes 100 characters and makes the most convoluted, difficult plot possible. Sun Chung takes 1,000,000 characters and makes it the easiest kind of. To be honest, even though the plot is fantastic and filled with like political intrigue and kind of spy-like stuff, all it is there's bad guys and there's good guys and they're just infiltrating each other. That's all you need to know. It's very like you can watch this film without really caring about the plot that much because you can watch it on a very baseline kind of level where it's just like, oh yeah, cool, there's colorful characters, they're all in each other's shit and they're fighting. But if you do watch it on a kind of level where you like really enjoy the plot, I just noticed that it just feels so less complicated than Cho Yun. And I love a lot of Cho Yun films, don't get me wrong. But I just think I love that Sun Chung just lays things out in a way that doesn't make them overly complicated, even with 100 characters or 1,000,000 characters. I don't know. He's quickly becoming probably my 3rd favorite director for sure. Lau Gao Lung, then Chang Che, then Sun Chung, I would say. And I checked his filmography out. And there is a time in his filmography, I think, where I think it was the run. Does anyone have his HK? Oh, I have it up, I think. There's a run that this film was in the middle of that is one of the best runs for a director in Shaw Brothers history. I think the Kung Fu Instructor's on there as well. I think it's 4 or 5 films.
Yeah.
Do you have it up, Dragon?
Yeah, so he basically would kick things off in 78 with The Avenging Eagle, then Deadly Breaking Sword in 79, Kung Fu Instructor in 79, To Kill a Mastermind in 79, The Kid with a Tattoo in 1980, Rendezvous with Death in 1980, which I just actually picked up the Vengeance Pack release of Rendezvous with Death, and it's gorgeous. Nice. And then we get a couple of more genre pictures, Revenge of the Courts, Notorious 8, and then Human Lanterns in 82.
So
right. If Human Lanterns was a little closer to Rendezvous with Death, I think that would be one of the genuinely the biggest and best runs ever. But those that you listed, that's a hell of a run for a director, especially in such a short amount of time. And I don't know. I think he was on fire with this film and at that particular time in his life. And I love this film. I absolutely love it. It's so colorful. It's so vibrant. It does feel like a Venom's film. I 100% agree with you in every single way. I think especially when the masked people come out, I was just like, hold on. And but I love it. I love that it does that. And I love that it kind of takes elements from other films and other directors, but he makes them his own. And this is just a delight to watch. And one thing I think we ought to mention, which we don't talk about enough, let's be honest, one of the best named Shaw films. I think To Kill a Mastermind is such a good title for a film. I absolutely love it. Now, typically I love the very silly kung fu names, like Clan of the White Lotus and things like that. Yeah. But this one just works for me. I love it. But yeah, long story short, this is up there for me. Now, I won't promise that it's high on my list somewhere, but as far as titles go, it's a certified classic in my eyes, I would say. Great all over.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I like what you said about the title too, because me growing up with all those World Norval titles, it's always they just had to get the death in, and just everything was changed.
Chamber of Pain or something like that.
Yeah, Martial Club was like Instructors of Death. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so growing up with that, I had a little bit of growing pains getting. I'm like Martial Club. Now that I love it, but that title, but it just never hit like the way those other ones. I actually been thinking about. I want to start trying to get some World Norval posters. I would love to like frame those because I have so much nostalgia for those ones, But To Kill a Mastermind is one where they really wouldn't have to, they might say like To Kill a Deadly Mastermind or whatever to get something in there. But that's one they wouldn't have to alter quite as much because it had that bite to it, And the biggest one for me was Heroes of the East, as we've done on the podcast. I love that, but that title never had the bite of the other ones. I mean, even Shaun versus Ninja. So, but I think if you'd known that first, the other ones would seem kind of weird to you. It's kind of just the fact you knew it another way. But no, that's a great title. And you really hit on a lot of it about the Venoms. And I feel like they maybe kind of, Mask'd Avengers could have been answering this. They kind of were like working off each other a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I just wish they had more. There's something about the masks, and I wonder how many there are with masks, and you don't know who the other guys are.
The masks are sort of thrown away here. He doesn't really like the masked guys when they do come round, because initially it's quite a surprise when you see the other two masked guys at the end when you get to the last reel, because there's been the guy in black who we see kind of intercepting the messages, right? And that when you first watch it, you kind of almost think there's one line of dialogue that lets you know that it's not. But when you first see him, you think, all right, okay, this is the Supreme Leader coming out to pick up the messages himself. And it's only at the end when he sort of says something to the fact of like, we'll see what the Supreme Leader says about this or something, that you kind of, you're like, all right, okay, no, this is like one of his other dudes that he's got going out. And then there's the two other masked guys show up at the end for that kind of last reel when there's the big reveal. But we don't really ever see who's under all the masks. One of them you do, and Sun Chung kind of tips a nod of the hat to his kind of love of horror, and you get the fact that the guy's disfigured underneath the black mask. But we never see the other two. Like, we never find out who's underneath the other two masks.
Right.
Which is kind of cool. He just throws it away. It's just like...
Oh, no, you're right.
I love that. Yeah.
That's the element.
That thing that was so central to Mask'd Avengers and to Five Venoms. He's just like, yeah. He just literally just throws it in there without really addressing it at all.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think you're right. The twist of, the Scorpion and everything in Five Deadly Venoms, it kind of like you've exhausted all the characters by the end. So there was no one that would surprise you. That's also why there was like no one if the two guys are in the room, and it's not, that was why the Ku Feng moment was neat, because you didn't know what was happening. But that's the one moment in the movie where I didn't understand exactly why he turned, like, I rewound the line because he says something, goes, wait, I'm so sorry. And they kill him, but I couldn't catch what made him just freak out so bad there. Like they're just kind of discussing like, well, he's doing the big reveal. Wang Lungwei opens up his cape and he's like, yeah. And he's like, and now we'll see how like appreciative you are. Cause they're saying, wow, we love your conniving ways. And then Ku Feng just has like a meltdown and he's like grabbing his legs, I was like, whoa, I guess he knew he was going to die, but I wasn't quite sure if he's the housekeeper and he knew all along. I just couldn't figure out what he did wrong right there.
Everyone's motivations in this is really unclear. Even the two dudes that are both revealed to kind of be agents. At one point, the one of them strikes the other one, the guy who's got the firing kind of projectiles on his back. The other guy like slashes him in the back when he's going to go and take down Wang Lungwei.
You mean after they've already teamed up a bit?
Yeah.
Oh,
it was like this random. I don't know if it was just like a misplaced strike, but I didn't think so. I kind of had me sort of second guessing everyone's motivations right to the very end. You couldn't really trust anyone at all in this flick. Pretty much everyone was kind of like duplicitous.
Did anyone feel that I know we've spoken about how some of the actors in this aren't exactly well knowns, but was it me or the guy with the darts on his back? Was he just overall just a little lackluster? Like,
tiny
to
bit.
Me, yeah, to me, I know he was like essentially, I guess, the hero of the piece. But as a hero, he really didn't do much for me, to be honest. Yeah. It's a testament to the film that didn't even let down the film for me. I was just like, okay, I have another dozen characters to enjoy. So
Yeah, I think he almost felt like a third tier baby Venom because
Yes.
because the baby Venoms, they like trickled in so perfectly through all the Brave Archers and everything came up that by the time they took the mantle on Five Elements ninjas, Ricky Chang and then Chu Ko stepping in. I mean, in Masked Avengers, he really, but all of them, and it's kind of like they frothed to the top, and they were like the best of the baby Venoms. This felt like there were some other guys in Masked Avengers that get killed. They were a little more in this. There definitely were some baby Venoms in this, quote unquote. But the thing, so what I'm saying is just that it almost felt like they didn't even have the luster quite of the baby Venoms, and that's why they blended a bit. The guy in the two at the end, their looks, the one guy had more scruff, but that also didn't separate them enough a bit. It kind of made it.
Though he had a lot more presence. That's like the guy who's playing. You're talking about the guy who plays the 8th chief, right? The one who's initially he's really super subservient. Like anytime they're asking his opinion, he's like, "No, I'm the new guy here."
Oh, exactly. When he dubs him 8th, when he dubs him 8th at the beginning, he says, "Oh, of course," and everything. Right.
I want nothing to do with anything.
he's a real interesting cat, right? Because I think if we were for fun, we should do this. Like we should basically kind of hypothetically say who would the Venoms play, right? And I kind of feel this is who Ku Choi would have played. I think if we were, because he's the one that ultimately survives to the end. So he's kind of like a sort of hero, I guess. Though he's still pretty gnarly, even when he's revealed that he is an agent. He's still pretty badass. And the two blades thing works pretty well, especially with his cape, where he's doing a lot before he's kind of really got to be pushed to almost being bothered to take out his blades. Like he's dealing with everyone else just with kicks, and doing a really, really good job. And that was where, when I was mentioning earlier, some of the wire work felt a little bit almost pushing the performer beyond where they were comfortable, was with him, when there was some stuff that he was having to do in the air, and they pulled it off better at the end when he like intercepts Wang Lungwei's weird bendy belt sword and like grabs it in his feet and then kicks it back round into him, which is a fucking great, really nice full stop ending, right?
Oh,
that's up there with like the guy getting his head lobbed off at
10 Tigers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the one the move it's not a Venom's film, but Shaolin Prince, where the guy's head gets knocked into his shoulders.
Yes.
Do you remember that? That seems crazy, but it's a classic move, even though it's silly as hell.
There's a really good one at the end of Legend of the Flying Fox as well. I think somebody gets like chopped in two in midair too. There's like these really nice endings that we didn't often see, but he's responsible for the really good one here, and he worked quite a lot with Sun Chung. So I think he came back for Rendezvous with Death, but he doesn't have a big part in it. He also worked with Chang-Chi a lot. This is the eighth chief I'm talking about. So he was in Crippled Avengers. He was in 10 Tigers. He was in the Kung Fu Instructor for Sun Chung. Went back to Chang-Chi for Magnificent Ruffians. He's in The Kid with the Golden Arm. And then back over to work with Sun Chung again for The Kid with a Tattoo. They're usually always a low-level henchman. Worked with Lau Ga-Lung for Return to the 36th Chamber. Back to Chang-Chi, did The Brave Archer Part 3. So he doesn't have a hugely long filmography. It's only actually 24 films on HK Movie Database, which is crazy that we're saying that that's not many, because that's still a shitload. But really only between a relatively short period. But I feel like he was one of the dudes that had the most screen presence of the kind of people who were on here. So I kind of maybe almost put him after Yuen Wah for being kind of like the guy who, when he was on screen, I was like more into what he was doing.
Who would be? I'm thinking Yuen Wah could be, well, maybe Chang Sheng, but Chang Sheng doesn't. He usually has more of a silly. He has some serious roles, but as going with your who would we slot in on the Venoms?
Yeah,
I wonder who would be. Yuen Wah might be the Sun Chen character. Like it could be. And then
I see more that. I see him more Sun Chen than Chang Sheng, I think.
The guy with the metal rings has to be Lo Mang, like Lo Mang.
Yeah.
And also because he dies quite early, so that's very it's also very true to like Lo Mang's kind of like procession in this sort of stuff.
Me having trouble picking a few more, it kind of is showing the issue we have with it, that they kind of blend a little bit in there. It's kind of like me trying to like break the other guys down, because there's definitely a separation with those three. They were really focusing on those three, and the other guys with Yuen Wah were the elder statesmen, if you will, of this. What's it called again? Seven Deadly. I can't remember the name of the gang. It's something 7 Deadly Knives or something. Seven hooks. Deadly, I can't remember, something like that.
Something.
Yeah, I can't remember the name offhand. man, I just can't get over just how coming home it felt watching all those scenes. It felt like Chang, it just like, it was like such a nice melding of Chang Cheh's style and, Sun Chung's coming in, because I've said this on the podcast a few times, that heroic nature and grand scope of Chang Cheh, as it comes down to the end, it just kind of got more in, like, especially I've brought up a lot, Brave Archer 4 or Brave Archer and his mate really struck me as just like soap opera-ish. There's no fancy camera work. It's so static. They're all in there. So much dialogue. And that's not that far after this one. I think that was 82. I can't remember offhand. I think it's 82. So when Chang Cheh was coming more to that Two Champions of Shaolin, where everything just had more of static shots, you really weren't going outside. It's just a nice breath of fresh air when the scenes would open, and it wouldn't be jarring. Yeah. It's just like you could see that Sun Chung, like they're going to go into the place where they have the statues, and he goes outside, shows like this, like, yellowy sunset. Then it goes all around the outdoors, really nice shots. And it just adds that little touch. And it's almost like, man, I felt a lot of the feelings of watching Avenging Eagle in this, a lot of overtones with that, not just the claw, just kind of the horses. And I think the horses are also in human lanterns. He always finds a way to get them in sometimes. Yeah. So that's like one of his hallmarks or calling cards, if you will.
And he really does seem to pay a kind of maybe more attention to the frame as a whole. So like putting the martial arts to one side and the labyrinthian plot to one side, when he's constructing a frame, he does seem to be a lot more considered. And we've kind of made the Kubrick connection a few times, but I think with him more so than maybe any other Shaw's director, he's really searching for kind of quite unique and interesting ways to build up a frame. There's one shot quite close to the beginning when they're first descending down into the layer of their sort of underground base, and he's almost lets the entire frame drop to black apart from this crack which follows exactly the staircase going down. It's really beautiful. It's almost like just perfectly kind of leading you down into the depths, right? That's so wonderfully staged, and I don't know exactly how he did it, where it feels like there's maybe some fuckery going on to make it darker at the top and the bottom of the screen to really emphasize the bit that he's lit. And there's a bunch of shots like that when they're outside kind of doing the exchange of the notes. He like tracks along the inside of a tree trunk and kind of comes up and just does some really interesting stuff that you don't often see other Shaw's directors kind of taking the time to do. Probably because they weren't given the shooting time to do these sorts of things, or their sensibilities were kind of elsewhere. But he seems more of the guy who was in love with the kind of the nuances of cinema, maybe more so than some of his contemporaries. He was really kind of going out of his way to kind of create this whole tableau that we don't always see with Shaw's directors, where sometimes they can be a bit more perfunctory, even though he's filming in places that we've seen a bunch of times, like the whole set where the rain sequence, also incredibly beautiful, like amazingly well done. One of the nicest interior rain sequences that I've done, because you could see he was really cranking up how much rain is coming down to the point where it's like that's beyond monsoon. It's like it's crazy, and it works so well. And there's that bridge that we've seen in everything, going back to Come Drink With Me. I'm pretty sure that same bridge is in Mad Monkey Kung Fu as well, but kind of it felt a little bit more compressed here. I don't know, he'd found an angle of it that really seemed I hadn't seen before. So the kind of the bridge wasn't almost wasn't the central focus of what you were looking at. It was kind of like off to the side, leading into this kind of pagoda where everyone was sheltering under. And he had the kind of the bit of business with the boat, which is also kind of really nice too. So just all of his kind of framing and his staging of all that stuff, just really beautiful. So it's an incredibly good looking movie. In amongst his filmography, kind of really interesting. And even some of the stuff, there's like one little section quite close towards the end where they're kind of beginning to oust Yuen Wah, where they're kind of starting to get to the point of suspecting that he might be the traitor. And they're all standing beside this one sort of gnarled tree that's very obviously on the soundstage, because they revisit it for a little bit of a fight sequence as part of the chase back. But he's kind of populated it with these really weird, just like branches that are quite Spartan branches, just dotted around the place. But it looks really cool. It's kind of
It really does.
It doesn't kind of feel like you're on the soundstage. He's kind of made this sort of otherworldly little landscape.
It feels otherworld. That's the word that just popped into my head. Otherworldly. Yeah. Like you're on the surface of another planet or something. Yeah. It looks great. Yeah.
So he was just always finding ways to kind of do stuff a little bit different, just sort of tweaking things to his own tastes, and it kind of really, really works here.
And you know what the irony is? one of his cinematographers on the film is Lam Nai Choi, the director of the story of Ricky and the Seventh Curse. So
that makes sense.
That's fascinating. I mean, Lam Nai Choi knows good cinematography as well. He's got a good eye for. He did I don't know if everyone's watched this one because it's not quite a kung fu film, but Erotic Ghost Story. While it's not everyone's cup of tea, it is a beautiful film and it looks absolutely stunning. So yeah, he knows his stuff. He had 2 cinematographers on this. The other one I don't recognize, but he did a whole bunch of Shaw productions. But yeah, Lam Nai Choi was one of them, which fascinating. I did not know that.
Something neat I caught is that Sun Chung, he changed that lighting for that backdrop you were talking about, Dragon. But that was the same locale that in Mask'd Avengers. So you know how they're about to leave in To Kill a Mastermind, and that little letter shows up on the branch. That's the same. Yes. That's the same area. I'd call it like a bridge scene in Mask'd Avengers when they're going to the lair. They keep going through that same exact area, and the guys will come and get their masks off. I swear it was like the same tree, but it was lit very different though. It was lit, because I'm sure they changed it, but sometimes it's like, that's why I just would love a Shaw Brothers documentary, because my mind is like, do they have these certain ones always set up? Or like, obviously the bridge and stuff, because as I'm watching, I go, okay, that's from Mask'd Avengers and that one's from this. And you can see, but then they have like a new piece, like that layer though seems pretty fresh. You can almost see like the paper mache of, that's the problem with the HD sometimes. I'm sure on those bad bootlegs that blended in just like perfectly.
I love Sun Chung. Sun Chung not only makes, I was going to actually mention that, not only makes like the film look gorgeous through whatever it may be, shots and things like that, but his imagination for film is incredible. I mean, even the way the mastermind delivers his messages to a big metal ball, it's so silly, but it's so cool as well. It reminds me of something like from like Cobra Commander would do in G.I. Joe or something like that. I don't know. I love the thought put into this, and everyone looks so vibrant. And then we can go back to the weapons. The weapons are so fascinating, and he knows how to pour his imagination into these films, and it really works.
And there's that thing where there's an old Hitchcock thing where he said, like, if you're gonna, Hitchcock was kind of one of the first to kind of sort of recognize that if you were gonna have a bomb that was going to go off, it was better for you to bring the audience in for the countdown element. So to see the clock ticking down, or to see, in this instance, the fuse being lit. And he found a way to find the longest fuse imaginable. Like it's literally a spiral going all the way around, so that he could kind of ratchet up the tension. So you know that the explosion is going to happen at some point. But he was able to do so much business while that incredible circular fuse was happening.
Only in a kung fu movie, I mean, like, or like a Three Stooges thing. Like, when could you in serious, they sold it like, okay, this is like, why? Because wow, that cracked me up. Like, how is that
whole bit at the end of destroying the lair? Because the lair itself, I mean, without wanting to sound like a film wanker, but his mise en scène, so the stuff that he's putting in to populate the scene, like at the beginning when there's this gorgeous tracking shot past the banners, and each banner is basically like the order for their kind of little, their league of evil. So all the things that potentially, and the same result for every single thing is going to be death. If you death for betrayal, or death for like sneaky convoluted plot. Some of them are quite random, but it was kind of this beautiful kind of like tracking shot in past all these banners, and in the place where they went to receive the message, just an enormous massive symbol that I'm pretty sure was death as well on the wall behind them.
A lot of death
in bright red. And them all kind of waiting with the long kind of metal, kind of gold little kind of metal catcher for this kind of ball message, which was so convoluted but so cool, and all that sort of stuff. And the fact that, like Choi Yun, he was also actually used kind of women in the films in a way that had a little bit of purpose and agency. So there's a kind of group of madams here that are all being used to kind of basically get information. And she kind of, I didn't know how long she was going to survive, but she was pretty great. I'm not too sure who that actually was. Let me see if I can pull. Can I remember?
I don't
name?
know her.
I just had a deja vu was it Human Lanterns or Magic Blade, where there was also a group of women like that, where they're in a bathtub. I think it's Lanterns, or the one guy, not bathtub, like an open like bathing area. It's kind of big. And the one guy gets killed. I think it was Human Lanterns. There's a very similar
I don't
type
recall.
of when they
I remember the scene. I can picture it. I don't know what film.
That does seem like what you're saying, because it's Sun Chung again. He incorporates women nicely into it, where Chang Che had a different approach, especially towards the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like I got to give a shout out to 88 Films as well, because their typically British subtitles can be sometimes.
You know how that sticks out to me. There was a stretch.
Oh, imagine.
I go, okay, I was like, some mate, and then it said bloody, which we never say, Americans never say, and it said mate bloody. Oh, there was a straightaway.
I've got two. I've got two here.
They're trying to get rid of the two guys.
Yeah, there's a classic "Keep Your Hair On," which is
I didn't even catch that.
And then, in order to wish someone prosperity and good fortune, they say, "I hope you get minted," which is very British, which made me laugh out loud. I thought that was hilarious. So, 88 Films, you're doing the Lord's work.
They really are, and they're the ones championing Sun Chung. Pretty much everyone. Because I think at this point they put out Human Lanterns. They put out Kung Fu Instructor pretty recently.
I think with the Shaw Brothers, I put it on Instagram the other day. I think with Shaw Brothers, I'm waiting for just one film now, and that's The Master, aka Three Evil Masters.
Me too. I'm actually working on a review on that. I have that, whatever. I get them confused. Dragon Dynasty, or it might be a Funimation, or what is it? Funimation?
It was that one was Funimation. Yeah.
Okay. I get confused sometimes which the region one release, which one that was. But yeah, there was something they always said on the forums about that one is all the region ones, the Dragon Dynasties were anamorphic, would fill up your screen, but there was something wrong with that one. They did it wrong where it almost doesn't even fill up the entire screen. It's just, and that is such a classic. That's another one I adored when I was young. Crazy. I mean, it's tight, it's not long, and it's just the villains. That was one of the ones. Yeah, and that was one of the ones where you guys all had those ones when you finally got on the forums and there's one that was just torturing you. What is this movie? That was one of mine. I remember a guy under a deck and then a guy and I mentioned, they're like, oh, it's Three Evil Masters. So I flew out and got that like a Red Sun. Remember that like platinum series? It wasn't like it was no different and it was chopped up and I was like, oh, cool. And then it was just kind of like a bummer that one is it's becoming like an unsung classic. Everyone that loves Kung Fu movies know it, but why isn't this one? But I guess it's kind of like, I think they'll get to it, at some point.
They have to. Someone has
I'm amazed it's not been on one of those shout sets so far, because it would seem like a real no-brainer.
Yeah, I think, you're absolutely right. A no-brainer. It seems an obvious choice, but I don't know.
Yeah. Another thing, Dragon, is when I got to the special features and I was like, oh, a stills gallery. Okay. So this is that period there, but it might be a cool time to mention. I think they're getting some other guys working on their projects that might be.
It's going in the other direction, thankfully. I've been blessed recently, thanks to, I have to give a shout out to Kung Fu Bob for making that happen. So I've contributed to one of several Shaw Brothers releases that they have coming. I'm kind of pushing to see if I can do any more. But they've got at least another, I can say at least another 4 or 5 in the pipeline coming out. A couple which have been available stateside, so there'll be UK only releases, but a couple that will be on both sides of the Atlantic as well.
That is so cool, man. I mean, I mean, to have you in the books, it's like kind of breaks a wall down, kind of.
Yeah, it's been a real blast.
Unbelievable. I mean,
the one I did more for is Duel to the Death. So I managed to do 2 separate essays for 88's release of Duel to the Death, which will be US only. It's not kind of getting a British release because Eureka have the rights to over here. But the release that 88 are putting together for it, 'cause I think kind of Bob really sold them on the fact that like you don't recognize how incredible this film is. You've really got to give it the special treatment. So they've kind of really gone to bat. So I just got the proofs back for the booklet and it's come together pretty well.
Wow, what did you say there, though? You did 2 different versions for the same movie.
I did 2 separate essays, I did
in the same booklet, though. In the same booklet. Oh, okay.
I did kind of one essay about the director, about Chun Su Tung, and I did one that's more about ninja movies and kind of ninja movies in Hong Kong versus what was going on in Japan at the time, and both were an absolute blast to put together.
That is so cool.
Well,
maybe I have an idea.
I have one other thing in the pipeline that I wish that I could speak about that I can't, but I'm beyond excited and I'm desperately trying to pitch myself to kind of be involved in that release. But even if I'm not, it's incredible news for us that it's getting the special edition treatment. So I don't know when it'll get announced. I've just seen Bob's artwork for it, and it's incredible. Guys, I will tell you once we stop recording.
Shaun, I got an idea. So Dragon, here's what you should do. You should do a booklet or do essays for the master. Just write 2, and then email, get it up. Hey, I was bored. I just thought I'd just throw these out there. If you ever get to, kind of do a little nudge, that would be.
Give me a little nudge. Just say, "Oops, I accidentally wrote an essay on the master."
Yeah,
Yuntak hasn't had his time in the spotlight. I feel he's really criminally underrated, and he's so fucking good. And we just got. I mean, Demon of the Loot is on Shawscope Volume 4, which we're delighted about, and he's got a pretty crazy part in Demon of the Loot. But he's kind of one of that kind of came to at the same time as Jackie and the rest of them, and he does a lot of stuff behind the camera. So a really incredible choreographer. I think he might have been the choreographer on Three Masters, actually. I think he might have been the one doing a lot of the staging. I'll have to double check that. But massively, massively underrated.
Wasn't he in also who has the rights to this one? Dragon from Russia?
Yes, I think he might be. Yeah,
I think he's in that. I don't think he's in it much, but I think he has a hell of a fight scene in it. But also, if anyone's listening, put out Dragon from Russia. I love Dragon from Russia.
I just remembered the other kind of holy grail for a while was House of Traps. That was the other one that I had to get on eBay, and it was just burned in subtitles, and it really felt separate from everything else. Yeah. I mean, it was right before the remasters happened, but it felt even worse than the VHS bootlegs, and that one always had kind of a lore to it that everyone, and I think that kind of, I really do like House of Traps, but I feel like it kind of buckled under the pressure a little bit, because when you finally get to it, it's like, oh, finally, and I feel To Kill a Mastermind kind of lived up to the want.
Not as good hats as House of Traps, aka House of Hats. The mental crocheted butterfly hat that's in that movie. Unreal.
I have to say, House of Traps, the English dub, it's that weird group of guys that the voices are odd, but the opening, they try to cram like 100 years worth of like legend into this opening 3 minutes, and it's like if you have a notepad, it's like, what the hell did that guy say? He's like, he killed and he stabbed his brother, but he was part of the Ying dynasty, and then he came back and then he sliced it. He's like, but he took his mistress, and then they joined. It was like, it's so much info, and then all you see is this girl or something get killed like in this like bed with like a sheet over it, like a silhouette, and your head spin. It's like, it's just nuts, and it's just, that's what Chang-Chi was doing in that period where he was those books, he was like trying to translate them, but I was like, man, slow it down. That was just like in the opening. It was nuts.
Someone reached out to me recently because he enjoyed the Food for Thought podcast, and he emailed me, and I won't talk about his name or anything like that. I don't want to, reveal too much, but basically big, long time Kung Fu film fan, but never really got more than like knee deep in the genre. Right. And he's now, we've back and forth. We've gone back and forth for ages now. And basically I'm kind of recommending titles for him. He has just bought every single one of the Shout sets in one purchase.
Wow.
And pick up all the Arrow sets in like one purchase or two.
Okay, I thought you meant on top of that. I'm like, oh man, did he win the lottery?
Yeah. So, and now he's like working through all the classic films, and he's just discovered the Venoms. Right, he's just gotten into the Venoms mob.
I'm jealous.
And he emails me when he watches them, and like he tells me which ones he likes and which ones he doesn't like, and it is incredible. We've struck up genuinely quite a friendship over this. It's a really good. I hope we meet, because he actually lives near me, so I hope we get to meet one day. But the fact that he's just like enjoying these films and like discovering the names, he's like, okay, who's this? Who's this Philip Quat guy? And it's just like, well, you're gonna really enjoy him, and it's just this brilliant journey. And he's going through the various Venoms films, and he hasn't quite gotten to House of Traps yet. But I'm interested to think of what he actually thinks of that one. But yeah, it's just a great. I'm kind of living vicariously through him because
great.
He's just finding all these gems. Yeah, he's just watched Martial Club for the first time.
Oh.
Final fight.
Here's the question, though. Did he tell you what the grand total was on that Shout purchase?
Yeah, I'm just trying to do the maths in my head. That's nuts.
No.
If you get them all, there's 10 boxes in total now, isn't there? If you count Brave Archer and the David Chang Tilong set.
Yeah.
So, and each of those sets were retailing at like $160, $170. You can usually get for like maybe 130, say 130. So that's about $1,300 just for the shout sets.
I know for a fact the shouts recently, a few of them dropped down to $70 on Amazon.
That's when I got the David Chang.
That's where he picked up a few of them that way.
I usually waited till I got them all, but I always waited till went to 120.
Yeah,
and that's when I would 123 on Amazon. I would just grab it. And the one thing, even though they don't have like the plush feeling of the Aero boxes, they're real sturdy. They can really handle the Amazon lack of anything. You know, Amazon's like, here's a tissue.
Except mine. Except mine.
Yeah,
that's a the first ever one that Amazon sent me. I can't remember what volume it is. It's split. Like it's come away. It sucks. I hate it, but
I think every single one of mine's slightly dented.
Yeah.
Because it's come a lot further from like the Amazon warehouse to me is like going international. So I realize here's a top tip for anyone who's buying from Amazon. Even if you're sending it to yourself, if you basically get it gift wrapped, and it could cost them very little extra, but they seem to basically do a little bit more work. They'll put it in a bag, but they'll often put a little bit of packing around it because they're in their mind they're protecting it as if it's a gift. So I've started doing that for pretty much all Amazon purchases. The best place for that is Amazon Japan. If you get it from Amazon Japan, you get it gift wrapped. It arrives beautifully wrapped with nice little kind of wee Japanese style packaging, which is very cool. And they always put an extra protection. It doesn't cost an extra 50 cents or $1 for gift wrapping.
Oh, thanks for that. I'm doing that going forward. I'm gonna. Shaun, did you at least for how damaged that one? Did you just do a quick return, or did you keep that?
No, I kept it. I kept it.
Because it's Amazon. Because I know, like with Orbit and stuff, you know, you want to support the smaller business, but Amazon, they would have just sent the next one out the next day.
It wasn't split when I got it. It was like frayed at the top, but over time, and I haven't really even looked at it that much, but over time, it's just like split and come away. And also, one of my arrow sets is damaged as well. One of my arrow sets has a hole in it, and I received that with it's only a little hole. And I reached out to Orbit about that, and they were genuinely lovely about it. Their customer service was superb. They were very good to me. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
And
but you still passed. I remember though. Yeah, you still.
Yes, I passed on it, but they were very nice about it. Yeah. And
they're one of the best for ordering them. Theirs are always flawless. You could tell.
Have you seen the new Diabolic policy where they're doing free shipping now if you order 3 movies?
Oh, cool. No, that's great.
Only within the US, but they're giving free shipping across the board if you order 3 titles, which I think is amazing.
That's really good. I'm excited on Dragons now. I'm going to start incorporating that because I know when I would give a gift, you can write like to my father like a little note. Yeah. So I think it brings more of a human less because normally I'm picturing like, you know, when it says mechanically separated chicken on like beef jerky, I'm picturing like just like they're making my packages. But if they have to put the note in, maybe that just a guy might put a little tissue for me or something. You know?
The other thing that Amazon are really good at, if you don't just because it's so automated now, you can easily request a return. But often if something's arrived just a tiny bit dinged up, but I don't really want to send it back. Like I got my wife for Christmas, I got her the McAtlas, which I don't know if you guys like McDonald's, but the McAtlas is an incredible book, which is basically it's this photographer who's made a project out of visiting every single McDonald's that he can around the world. Great. Yeah. And then photograph all the regionally specific dishes because like McDonald's do like stuff that you can only get in that particular country. So it's really nice pictures of like some really unusual looking McDonald's buildings and then some stuff from the menu. It's a glorious book. It's like all colored as if it's like a burger. So the outside of it looks like sesame seed bun, and then you get individual layers of the pages.
Beautiful.
It's an incredible.
Great.
I think David he is the photographer, but anyway, ours arrived a little bit dented, but not that bad. So instead of just requesting a return, because it came all the way from the States, I actually contacted Amazon customer service, and I think the book was like $50, but they ended up giving us like a $30 credit note.
Wow. Okay.
Because the dent's fine, but rather than going into all the trouble of sending it back to the States. So
how much off was it? $30 you said?
$30 off a $50 book.
That's great.
Yeah.
I had that happen to me. I was in LA, as Dragon knows. It's so expensive. You just get a studio apartment. So I wanted to like split up the room. So I ordered this like, just like a kind of like a, in those movies where a girl like in the 30s dresses behind. I can't think of the proper name for it, but it's
like a room divider.
Yeah, and it's like a 3-way one that's on like wooden. You have to balance it. This one came, I think it looked like a guy just hit it with a hammer or something on the one side, and I was like, okay, maybe I can put that near my like refrigerator and hide that little, in the bamboo. It was all like warped and weird. So I wrote the guy, and he just walked it all the way. So this wasn't quite Amazon. It was like a third-party seller through Amazon, but it had come from China, and he was like, what about like 10% off instead of sending it back? I was like, man, I sent him a picture. The thing was like warped and weird. And then he's like, what about, and I swear he got like 60% off because I didn't really want it. And then suddenly you're like, oh, maybe I can bend it here. And like, suddenly I made it work. I kept it the whole time. And when I lived at that location, but it always had this weird warp, like it was like awkward, but it changes your view on it when they start like chipping away at it,
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I'm weird. Like if I have a book that's like, Dungeons and Dragons, I have all these books that are like beat up and dented. It's just in principle, when you get this new thing, you at least want it to be new when you get it,
Yeah.
Once something's worn in a bit, it has a different it's like a guitar, like when Slash from Guns N' Roses showed this guitar, he played these shows, has all these things, or it's like it gives us some character. But when you get the new guitar, you don't want to, you didn't want this chip and this is wrong. And
well, we're all physical media obsessives now, and when we buy something, we don't just want the movie; we want it to be in this shiny, lovely, beautiful packaging. And the packaging now has become part of the purchase. Like it used to be, you just bought a Blu-ray and it was in a Blu-ray case, and off you went home to watch the fucking movie. But these days, it's like, no, I've got to open and study it, and there's something wrong with that. I do the same. I've got, I collect ridiculous packaging, but I think it also kind of hinders our collecting a little bit, because if anything happens to that, it's just like the end of the world, because it's so beautiful, Well,
Shaun, you keep them all in their slips, of course, on the shelf, right?
Yes,
I
do.
The slips with Amazon have become my like arch nemesis, like because those are the ones that like, because I'll be right on the edge where it's too like dense and it's kind of smashed with the white starting to come out, and then you pull it out, and you're like, okay, this looks perfect. Should I like maybe live without the slip? And then I just say, oh, it's Amazon. I'm like, send another. Then I look at the 2, and then I'll send the worst one back. You know what I mean? Because I realize I'm not going to play the game going to 3, because it's just, you can almost hear the guy punting it to your door sometimes. These guys, it's like Frisbee time. It's like an aerobie or something. It's like, guys, please. And the biggest crock with them is if you get, because at first I was like calling the customer service, and she's like, we're sorry. I'll put a note in that they're in like, she's on it. It's like you could tell a lot of scripted stuff. Like they're saying like, and it comes in the exact same thing. It's never ever been improved on the second. It's just a crapshoot, if you know what I mean. Like, and I can, like I said, live with them being beat up. It's just the principle when you get something new. That's why I like when you can go to Barnes and Nobles. You just pick a nice one that's not all like jacked up.
Yeah,
Do you have Barnes and Noble over there in?
Sadly,
UK?
no. We used to have Borders for a while. And
I love Borders.
Borders used to have a pretty good physical media section, but that's all gone. That kind of all went years and years ago. So now, at this point, over here, as far as physical media goes, we've got FOP, and FOP's pretty good, but there's a lot of stuff they don't carry, and they're for the most part, it's now, Amazon's pretty much the easiest choice for almost everything. We've still got a couple of HMVs. There's lucky that I've got a big HMV close to me, so I'm kind of pretty good for some things that I can just randomly get. But it's pretty rare for me to kind of go in and like impulse buy. Most stuff I've kind of pre-ordered. I like to kind of try and use Terracotta for stuff. Because
Joey's great.
Good catch-all. Joey's incredible and packs really, really well. And then for Arrow stuff, I usually kind of get it direct. And Arrow are pretty good. When there was what did we call Bruce Lee Gate? The nightmare of that box set. I think I ended up getting a pretty hefty refund off my set. I think I got about like 30 or 40 quid back for my box arriving dented. That hurt expensive me. Set.
I was so excited on that. I had everything set up to do the unboxing. I just was like, I'm not even going to, I'm doing it right now. I'm taking the cellophane, and I opened it. It just was like someone hit it with a hammer. It was so smashed in. I was like, oh, and I just was really pining for that set, as we all were, I was just like wanting that so bad. And then the next one, I moved to eBay. I can't remember where I got the first one. And I talked to the guy, and he had great pictures, and he packed it great. And it still had a little bit that he didn't like, he couldn't quite see or something. But I think it's almost impossible to get that perfect. Maybe like there was a few.
There's some lucky people, but I think, a lot of people blamed Arrow for that, but the problem was Arrow's parent company, because they're owned by the Hut Group, and the Hut Group own a bunch of different businesses that are totally not connected, and one of them is Look Fabulous or Look Fantastic or something, which is kind of like a makeup beauty supplies company. and they were like packed into the Look Fantastic boxes and with no packaging. And because it was quite an unusual size, they had to use like the next size of box up. So all of them were rattling around. So there's like a good sort of 3 inches on one side of the box. So if you tipped it up, it was, and the weight of that box meant really difficult. So I think the Shaw scopes have always been pretty good. They've got like a real custom box that they've made up for it that fits it like a glove, so it can't shake around inside. But even still, I think I've had a couple of my Shaw's boxes had a little bit of a dunt to one side where something's been stacked against it or something. But yeah, it's hard, man.
I'm laughing because I just wanted to say, whenever Dragon wanted me to send him the John Wick Best Buy exclusive, we were walking through the steps together, and I got to the post office, and I was like, so how much like bubble wrap I can really go? He's like, go. And he like, you shot me like $5 more. He's like, get the bigger size. So I wrapped this thing like you're mailing like an infant or something. You know, I mean, this thing was wrapped. And it's funny, when he got to the unboxing, it was so cool to see it go over. And we really like put a little steps into it. He had me record in Best Buy and stuff. It was like a cool moment.
Oh,
like,
great.
Yeah.
I love that video.
Yeah, it's so fun. But when you unwrapped it, I don't know if you edit it, it's like, boom, he's like taking all these like layers off, you know. But that's the beauty of it coming out. It looks so pristine, you know.
It still is. They're right behind me in the corner there with the dragon sitting on top of it. Yeah.
And like Dragon style, you found a way to get the 4th one in there, right? Didn't you like do a little envelope?
No, there's not enough space. The 4th one's like, this is not great. This is not great podcasting because you guys can't see. But the 4th one is like in the shelf below because it's I got like a Nova Media 1-click and then sold. The 1-click sets come with usually 3 copies of the same movie inside them. But if there's 3 variants of the artwork, they'll give you one of each variant. So I bought it's one of the only 1-clicks I've ever bought. I think the whole thing is a bit ridiculous with 1-clicks, but I sold 2 of the 1-clicks from inside it, and that paid for the whole 1-click. So I basically got the 4th part for free. So I've got that, and I just got Ballerina from Manta Lab. So Ballerina just arrived. That's higher up than you can see at the moment. I have to tilt my screen back.
Underrated film. People aren't talking about
it.
I
really like it. I like it. I like it a lot. Like it kind of saved the chances of us continuing with the Wickverse because the Continental series is so bad. Like it feels like it's not remotely connected to any of the stuff that made those John Wick movies work. And Ballerina at least feel like it's in the same world, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think all the stuff that Chad Stahelski did in the last act of kind of bringing in all the Koreans, so there's more good kicking in Ballerina than there is in any of the John Wick movies. The Korean team that he brought around for that kind of scene at the club at the beginning, really good. I
might actually watch that again today. When we get off this podcast, I'm actually watching Enter the Ninja for the first time.
Yeah,
that's
for the very
that's
first
my
time.
first. That's nice. For the very first time. That's my first film on my list. As soon as I get off,
I'm excited to hear your take on that.
Yeah, my wife's out for the day, so I get.
We should do that. We should do that for the pod at some point. We should do Enter the Ninja.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That'd be great. Cool. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Some Shogun.
Should I hold off and not watch it?
I would love to watch it
because we've already got the next few months lined up, so we'll come.
Okay, good point.
We'll come to it.
Yeah,
no, so I don't want to deprive you of that today.
And I've already in another episode, I've already tempered your expectations. You get the Canon Films-esque of it, like the cheesy element. We had a television show growing up called USA Up All Night, and it was with like Gilbert Godfrey hosted it with this girl named Rhonda Shear, and it was cool. They would play Toxic Avenger, a lot of those trauma films and all those things. It was like an overnight thing. And you get to watch some cheesy elements. So I love to. Shogasugi definitely has some of that. So bad it's good in a lot of, especially like Pray for Death. Pray for Death is like the peak of it, I'd say. Revenge of the Ninja, I think, is my favorite of those 3, just because. Like, it's funny, Quentin Tarantino loves Domination. He thinks that's like the best one, but that was just so one. Yeah, that one's so bonkers. You really got to strap your seat.
I'm excited.
That is The Exorcist. That is The Exorcist meets a ninja movie. Like,
did we talk about these films last episode? I feel like we did.
Duel to the Death one. No, that was Big Boss. Duel to the Death we did. Yeah, because you had just it was a ninjas and you just got in your Kino Lorber.
Oh, by the way, I am pissed that they released those separately and then released them in a box set. I got them separately, and now they've released it in a lovely shiny box set.
So when you got them, you weren't saying you got the box set.
Nope, I got them all separately. Now it sucks.
Yeah, and the other thing is I've had them separate from Kino Lorber. I used to call them Kino Lober in my old videos. I feel weird about that. I didn't realize there was an R in there. But yeah, so I had those 3. And then this one came out, and I wasn't even going to get it, but I looked, and they did I think 2K scans. No, it was 4K scans of the negatives. And so you get the 4K and the Blu-ray, which I need because I don't have a 4K television yet.
Right.
And it's really murky. So it made me double dip. I'm probably gonna pull a Dragon and resell my other thing. Dragon, you and your mailman must have dinner together. Like, dude, we should hang sometime. Like,
I give him a Christmas present normally.
Yeah. Or the guy down at the post. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I actually meant the post office guy, but I'm sure both of those dudes like
the post office guys don't mind too much, but because they're it's run of the mill for them. But the guy who has to, because we're on a top floor, so the guy who's got to cart all my shit upstairs, then he really likes playing PlayStation, so I always get him like a voucher for the PlayStation store.
That is so cool.
Oh, wow, that's really nice.
And you catch him like around Christmas time. Hey, I got this for like
yeah. And he's always got like he knows us pretty well. He's always got like a bag of cat treats in his pocket, and he'll like look after.
Oh, what a nice guy!
Oh,
he sounds awesome.
I love our postie. Michael, shout out to Michael if he ever listens to this. He's a good dude. We're terrified if he leaves because he's the best, man.
Oh man, like I said, our guys. I don't know about your guys, Shaun, but I mean, our guys, they punted. They seem like they're about to quit that day. I mean, I'm getting no good.
Yeah, mine's all right. Mine's okay at the moment, but yes, certainly in this country, I have experienced the worst of the worst. People who just fucking pile drive your box before they send it to you.
A lot of couriers are like that. Sadly, Every and Hermes are the worst in the UK. Anyone who's
really
Every are fucking shit. There's a couple of other ones. DPD also very bad. They won't even bother ringing the buzzer; just leave it outside in the street.
Oh,
and so unless you're watching the tracking like a hawk, we've had a few things stolen from outside and stuff.
Fucking hell! Yeah,
no cool.
The perils of being a physical media collector.
Very true, but I feel that we've steered quite far away from Mastermind. But I hope everybody's enjoyed this random little kind of New Year interlude into other realms of physical media collecting and everything in between. Shall we pull it back in and bring it home?
Well, Dragon, do you want to tell the listeners the slight sad news about the book, our little segment we normally do at the end?
Yeah, normally we always like to kind of go back to the kind of wonderful martial arts movies of the 1970s by Dr. Craig D. Reed, where we can kind of joyously try and anticipate what the percentage score is from the amount of martial arts in the movie. But it's not in the book. And Jason, you said you had a theory of why that might be.
Well, I think we touched on it. It was just because I think he probably couldn't even watch it or get it at the time he made the book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was so hard to get. That's pre-Z Eagle. I think that's like 2011 or something like that. Oh, I can't remember when Z Eagle came out. I think and I can't, even when I got House of Traps off of eBay and I was like, oh, I got this. It was a horrible version. It was just the worst. I don't remember seeing To Kill a Mastermind. I do remember famously in all the forums. Remember that shot? There's like the three of them at the end and they're like they're entangled. There's a specific shot.
Yes.
I always saw that shot. So when I saw it happen at the end, it was like, oh, there's that, you know what I mean? There's that moment, but I guess he probably just couldn't get it to review. I'm imagining because he normally hits, but we can still do our guesses.
It would have to be high, right? I think it must be between the 30 to 40% because there's a lot of action in this movie.
I was going to say 35.
Okay, that's a little bit lower.
Yeah. This is great because Dragon can do a guess now.
It's true.
But we can never find out. No one's going to do the math.
No.
Unless we have real loyal listeners who are willing to do that.
Yes, if you want to do the math percentage, then by all means do, and you can let us know.
I'll tell you, this is hard because I'm working. It's been years in the making. I've had this idea I want to do of ranking fight scenes of a certain star, you know, but it's tricky because you have to say what constitutes exactly as a fight scene. You know, it's like if a guy comes in and he just like doesn't want to fight and he hits the guy like that wouldn't count. That's just like a weird, you know, like roadhouse move. But if it's the guy hits him and then he hits him back, like, and then one more hit, like, are we getting into, you know, you have to like cut. Yeah, it's a little tricky. So, and it's also, like I've said a few times, the runtime. So if you have 2 hours or if you have the tight, like an hour and 10 minutes, you know, a real tight one, that it gives the percentage much higher, you know?
Yeah.
So
this episode's actually inspired me for a video as well. I might work on a top 10 greatest final moves of Kung Fu movies.
Oh, that's great. That's
now
brilliant.
that we brought that up, I think that's quite a good idea for
finishing
for a
moves,
video.
you know?
Yeah, that's what, yeah,
know?
10 best finishing moves in Kung Fu cinema.
You could have like a Mortal Kombat finish at the opening.
Yeah. I'm not that good of an editor, I'm afraid. It'll just be me yelling finish him into the mic.
Oh, that's easy. CapCut, you just bring it in, YouTube downloader.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's a cool one. Yeah, it's definitely a cool one. All right.
And speaking of cool ones, we have something incredible lined up for February as well. And so to everybody who's listened, thank you very much for joining us again at the beginning of 2026. Be sure to come back for February because it's an absolute belter, as is March. I'm very excited about our kind of first quarter lineup. There's no misses. So yeah, I think I'm very excited for what we've got to kind of go through over the next couple of months.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what they are, but I'm very excited.
Yes. Any little final parting thoughts on? I know it's just 3 thumbs up from all of us to kill Mastermind.
100%, and just more Sun Chung, please. I think it'd be really nice to kind of see more of his filmography coming. I did briefly mention that if anyone can track down the Vengeance Pack release, because that's not always that easy to do. They don't advertise on the back. It's kind of tricky with them because they legally can't say if they've included English subtitles. I think a lot of people always kind of are quite down on the European labels, on the French and the German labels for not always having English subs, but a lot of that is they're not allowed usually because if they put English subs on, it technically becomes an international release, so the rights go up exponentially. So a lot of the time they're forced, literally, they're either not given the English subs as an element, or they're heavily penalized if they do put them on. But the Vengeance Pack are very sneaky and ninja-like, so they often won't put on the back of the box that there are English subs, but 9 times out of 10 there usually are. Not across the board. Be quite careful when you're ordering, or you can message me, and I've got a pretty good knowledge of which do and which don't. But anyway, they recently put out Rendezvous with Death, which is a phenomenal other Sun Chung movie, and one that I'm really hoping will get a release by one of the UK or US labels. It's another Wang Yu starring, not Jimmy Wang Yu, but Wong Yu, as in Dirty Ho is Wong Yu, kind of starring picture, and a phenomenal ensemble cast. Really, really entertaining movie, and they did, I think, 3 different artwork editions of it. I spotted Mitch. Shout out to Mitch. Hello, Mitch. Mitch managed to track down a copy, but the process of the hoops that you have to jump through to order something from Germany is a nightmare. And the Vengeance Pack are dreadful about.
Did he get it for himself, or did he send it to you?
No, he got it for himself. I posted that I'd got my copy. And then I told him where to go, because there's a couple of pretty reliable German suppliers, but it's real weird. Like sometimes you have to order it and then they send you an invoice and then you pay the invoice. It's really it's super convoluted.
I know when I got those Venoms ones, before it came out from Shout and everything, I really wanted, it was Daredevils, Rebel Intruders, and I can't remember offhand. It was 3 of them. I really wanted
all Koch Media ones. They're a little bit easier to get. You can get them through Amazon.
Yes. And I did Amazon DE, you switch it, which was tough for me to switch back. And it was during COVID. So it still took, I swear, like 3 months to get to the States or something. It was really long to get to me for some reason. Yeah. It took forever, but that could have been COVID. It was like fresh into COVID, like March, April or something when I got it. But yeah, I was impressed with those. Those were nice.
They're really beautiful transfers. And the Vengeance Pack normally do their own sort of restorations, and they'll usually put on like an unrestored version too. So I think the set that I got is 2 discs. You get a DVD. Remember those? You get a DVD copy that looks like basically the way that we used to watch these things as kids. So it's nice kind of having it on there. Though I usually just watch the Blu-ray version, but it does have English subs, thankfully.
That's great.
I have a few of theirs. I'm not sure. I can't even remember what films I've got. I've got the Golden Mask one. Is it?
Yeah.
That came to mind. That came to mind when I keep thinking of masked ones.
And their trailers are always so cool, man. The trailers they cut themselves have always got the best weird little kind of wee techno or like breakbeat little kind of scoring. The Jason, I'm sure you clocked it for their Enter the Game of Death trailer. They used the sort of danced up version of the old Kung Fu computer game music.
Yeah,
You remember?
yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I love Kung Fu.
Do, do,
Yeah.
do, 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 do,
Yeah,
do, do, do.
yeah. That's one of the
Yeah.
rare Nintendo games that's better than the arcade version. The Kung Fu Master. I don't know if you guys have played the arcade version of Kung Fu on Nintendo.
Mhm.
It's
No.
clunky, and it's like the guy, like he looks like he's like, you didn't notice when you're young or care, but it just, yeah, that's the rare. Well, actually, there's a couple like Rygar. We'll not go off on video games, but there's certain times when on Nintendo it beats the arcade, which is kind of rare on that.
Definitely. I will say thank you all again for listening, and please do. We love seeing comments. So kind of go on to wherever you're listening to podcasts and leave us a little review and 5-star us if you feel that way inclined. And if you don't feel that way inclined, maybe don't bother. But it's always really, really nice seeing comments. I think it took us a while to realize we even had comments on Spotify that we could check, but we've been kind of getting a real kick out of doing that. And you can also find us all on Instagram or on YouTube. So do let us know if you've been listening to the pod, because it's really, really cool. We've had some really, really nice messages, and it kind of gives us a bit of a boost when it comes through. So kind of thank you to everyone who messaged out saying that they've been enjoying listening to the pod. We love doing it, and we're gonna keep on. So make sure to come back here at the same time next month, same bat time, same bat channel, for another slice of Martial Worlds Entering Gold.